Outrageous, just outrageous.
What's outrageous?
The WikiLeaks banking blockade.
What is WikiLeaks? Can it be fixed by a wiki plumber?
Ha ha ha. WikiLeaks is a not-for-profit media organization aiming to bring important news and information to the public. They provide an innovative, secure and anonymous way for sources to leak information to their journalists.
I've heard about them on the news.
Yes. WikiLeaks has published some of the biggest leaks in journalistic history. As a consequence, more open and transparent governance in many countries has been achieved.
That's good, I guess.
It has. But unfortunately it has resulted in legal and political attacks from the most powerful players in politics and banking.
What sort of attacks?
Attacks designed to silence their publishing organization, their journalists and their anonymous sources.
So why do they do what they do?
Fundamentally it's about the defense of freedom of speech and media publishing, about a common historical record and supporting the rights of all people to create new history.
That's good. I support the right to freedom of opinion and non-interference with the media regardless of frontiers or political boundaries.
Well, that's what WikiLeaks values.
What about the banking blockade you mentioned?
For over 70 weeks a financial blockade has been imposed by Bank of America, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal and Western Union. Essentially it has meant that these companies will not pass on money that supporters have tried to give to WikiLeaks to support its work.
That must be a bit of an inconvenience.
More than an inconvenience. The blockade has destroyed 95% of WikiLeaks' revenue.
Why did they blockade?
It came into force within 10 days of the publication of thousands of leaked US cables.
So the attack was from powerful US companies.
Yes, and there was a rather extraordinary political attack from some US politicians on WikiLeaks staff.
Like what?
Some politicians have called for the assassination of WikiLeaks staff.
What? That can't be legal. Who is accountable? What about due process? No democratic oversight or transparency?
Well, the US government itself found that there were no lawful grounds to add WikiLeaks to a US financial blockade. But the blockade of WikiLeaks by the banking companies continues regardless.
Can WikiLeaks challenge the blockade?
Yes, their scarce resources will now focus on fighting the unlawful banking blockade.
I guess that this could set a really dangerous precedent. If anyone or any company had a different view to the banks, then the banks could just cut off their funds.
You're right. If this financial attack stands unchallenged, a dangerous, oppressive and undemocratic precedent will have been set, the implications of which could go far beyond WikiLeaks. It could mean that groups like Greenpeace, Amnesty International, and other international non-government organizations that work to expose the wrongdoing of powerful players risk the same fate as WikiLeaks.
So WikiLeaks supporters can't donate?
Well, there is still a way, but it's more than that. The blockade erects a wall between WikiLeaks and their supporters, preventing them from affiliating with and defending the cause of their choice.
I know from the news that WikiLeaks editor-in-chief and founder Julian Assange is an Australian citizen, and I remember he was investigated over something. Has the WikiLeaks organization broken any Australian laws?
No. Australian Federal Police investigation into WikiLeaks operations found that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange have no case to answer.
What about the United States of America?
In the US, WikiLeaks publishing is protected by the First Amendment, so again no case to answer.
What about charges or findings anywhere else in the world?
Nothing.
So what's WikiLeaks publishing now?
Nothing until recently. In order to ensure their future survival, WikiLeaks was forced to temporarily suspend its publishing operations and aggressively fundraise in order to fight back against this blockade. They need support from people who also support freedom of speech. A handful of US finance companies cannot be allowed to decide how the whole world votes with its pocket.
How do I help?
Go to the wikileaks.org website, donate and get the facts.
Okay.
There is also a campaign on at the moment for people around the world to donate $5, euros, pounds or other currency to WikiLeaks on April the 5th.
$5? That's not much.
Yes, but imagine if WikiLeaks' millions of Twitter and Facebook followers gave $5 each.
Wow. That would really keep them strong.
Yes, and send a strong message from the community about the blockade. You can find out more at beattheblockade.org.